Do you wonder why some people make wealth very easily while others struggle a lot? My name is Rohit Gore. I have studied Jyotish for the last 15 years in depth. I have worked in the corporate and the business world for the last 25 years, and I have helped hundreds of people make the right decisions at the right time regarding their wealth through Jyotish. Before we jump into the topic, let me give you a way how I am going to make this explanation easy. I'm going to use two ways. One is a very simple way where all of us can understand that and appreciate it. And I will map it to the technical ways some of the great wealth masters have taught us over the years of how to maximize our wealth. Right. Sample chart. All of us get this. This little triangle at the top left is the triangle of wealth. It's called second house, and that house tells you everything about your wealth. Now, each one of us, every single one of us has got second house in their charts. Show me one human being who does not have a second house. All of us have it. What it naturally means is that we all have the potential to make wealth. So if you're wondering, is there potential in my chart or is there potential in my life to make wealth? Be rest assured, you can make a lot of wealth. Now, let me explain it to you in a simple way. And I'll map it to the technical way as well, right? In today's video, we will be primarily covering the value creation capacity aspect of the wealth. Masters like Warren Buffett, Naval Ravikant, all of these great people have spoken about these three dimensions: value creation capacity, capital conversion and compounding, risk, timing, and your behavior. In today's video, we'll be talking about value creation capacity. We have learned about farming from our childhood. We understand a little bit about farming, right? What is the most important thing in farming? The land, right? You can have the greatest technology, you can have the greatest quality of seeds, you can have the best weather conditions, ample supply of water, fertilizer, everything in the world, right? But it all is dependent on what kind of a land you are going to use to farm. Every piece of land is different. A specific piece of land has the capability, value creation capacity, to yield a specific kind of a crop. And if you do that on that land, you will maximize the kind of yield you get. Let us look at your second house, which is the primary house in your chart for your wealth. Of course, there are many other houses that support this house of wealth in your wealth creation. But for the sake of simplicity, let's only look at the second house today. The most important aspect, the first most important aspect, is what kind of Rashi is there in your second house. You have a farmland, you need to understand what kind of a land that is. Is it marshy? Is it rocky? Is it sandy? That determines the kind of crop you're going to get, right? So the Rashi in this little triangle over here tells you what kind of a potential fundamental is there in your second house to make wealth. Let's take an example. Maybe you have a very marshy land, right? You go and check your land and you determine it is very marshy. Similarly, in Jyotish, let's look at the Rashi in your second house. And if you realize that the Rashi here is Cancer, Karka, what does that tell you? That the nature of your wealth can be very fluid. It may have ups and downs. The nature of your wealth is also quite dependent on the emotional aspects of your wealth creation. Cancer sign also tells you that if you are in fields, in your professions, or your strategies are aligned to something that nourishes people, something that takes care of their health, all of these aspects are all Cancerian aspects. So if you are in that kind of an area where either you are someone who is naturally nourishing in your strategy towards wealth, that means you are aligned to the kind of a land that you have got. If there is Gemini sign is all about diversity, multiple ways, side hustles, main job. Gemini wants you to adopt multiple strategies in your wealth creation. Every sign has its own characteristic. Now let's look at the second thing that matters in your chart regarding your wealth. We have seen that we may own a piece of land for farms, for agriculture, but sometimes we tend to lease that land to a set of contractors, to a set of people who bring in a specific kind of a capability to grow that land, to grow crops on that land rather. So the second aspect, as I said, is understanding the kind of planets that are there in your second house. Think of these guys, these planets, as the people who have leased your land to grow crops. Now, if the people who have leased your land to grow crop, if their skill set, their nature, their behavior, their mindset is aligned with the kind of land that you have, you will maximize your wealth, right? So first you need to understand what kind of a land you have, what kind of a Rashi is there in the house, what kind of people, contractors are working on that land to grow crop, what kind of planet is sitting in that second house, which is responsible for giving you wealth. Let's take an example. We talked about Cancer sign in your second house, right? The Cancer sign, as I said, is fluctuating, is all about ups and downs, nourishment, right? And you end up having a planet which is not exactly like that in terms of its fundamental nature. Let's say there is Saturn. This planet is Saturn in your second house. What does that mean? Cancer sign, the land, the contractor, Saturn, they are not in sync. Their skills are quite different. So once you understand that, then you have to find what is the commonality between these two aspects. The nature of your land, Cancer sign, and the contractor who is working on that land, Saturn, the planet who is responsible for giving you wealth. There are several commonalities between Cancer sign and Saturn. You have to combine that and strategize your wealth creation accordingly. What is Saturn? Saturn is all about long term. Saturn is strategic in nature. Saturn doesn't like frequent ups and downs. But what is the kind of strategy you can adopt? Nourishing aspect of Cancer and long term nature of Saturn. If you look at that aspect and look at investing in tools, frameworks, assets that you need to nourish with a long term way. As an example, you might buy a house as your investment for your wealth. Now, some of us buy that house and we forget all about it. I don't care about that house. Whatever happens to it doesn't matter. But if you nourish that house, if you pay attention towards the upkeep of that house all the time, you are emotionally invested in that house with a long term view. You're not going to sell it a year later just to make some quick money. You're going to invest in it with a 10, 15, 20 years mindset. Nourishing your house and satisfying Saturn. Similarly, you are looking at stock market for improving your wealth. Think of stocks that are in these kind of businesses. Stocks that are taking care of health, wealth, of health and mental health of people, right? These are kind of companies. Invest in them with a long-term mindset. I guarantee you, those stocks, those houses will give you great, great wealth. Assuming there is no planet in your second house, right? And let's continue with the same example. Cancer sign in the second house. Who is the ruler of Cancer? It is Moon, right? So you own a piece of land, but you are not going to hire any contractors to grow crop on that land. That's the decision you have made. Fair enough. There are no planets, no contractors on your land. Then you, as the owner of that land, you have to make sure that the crop is growing. Correct? So, if there are no planets and as a owner, you need to take care of it. As the ruler of Cancer sign, Moon has to take care of giving you a wealth. You have to look at where your Moon has gone. Moon can go in your third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house. Any of these houses, Moon can be. If you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, then Moon can actually be in the second house itself. That means the owner of that land is living on that land. What a brilliant combination, right? If you own something, you will take care of it. You will not be careless about it, right? If your Moon has gone in your 10th house, 10th house is all about your career, your karmas. What does it mean? Moon is in the 10th house and ruling your wealth through the 10th house of karma. If you are doing your karmas with emotional resonance in them, combine Moon characteristics and your 10th house characteristics, naturally your wealth will grow. Simple. That makes your wealth grow because moon is happy. If you are happy as the owner of a particular piece of land, you will make sure that the crop on it is yielding great returns, right? That's the third thing. Rashi in your second house, planets in your second house, the ruler of your second house. There's one more fourth thing. You own a piece of land, you got great contractors. As a owner, you are very focused on that piece of land. You understand the nature of it. Everything, you tick all the boxes, fantastic. But there are external forces that are at play sometimes. There are people who are either our friends or our enemies who essentially also have a role to play on what is happening in our second house. By friends and enemies, I mean maybe you hire a wealth advisor. The nature of that wealth advisor will also determine how your wealth grows, right? Think of the neighbors that you have in your piece of land. The kind of things that they are doing, they are also watching your land, right? The kind of things that they are doing on their piece of land also impacts your piece of land. True, unfortunate, but true. Now, if there are people who are there to help you, your wealth grows, your potential increases, value creation capacity increases. But if they are there to harm you, then it goes down. A planet in Jyotish, which signifies the external influence, is the planet that aspects drishti on your second house. Naturally, any planet in your eighth house, you may have two planets, three planets, any planet in your eighth house will always aspect your second house. Now, if they are there to help you, wonderful. If they are there to harm you, problem. You have to understand that problem. You have to find a commonality across all these dimensions and then strategize accordingly. What does Warren Buffett has always said? Understand your core competence. Stick to that. Grow your wealth using your core capabilities. If you understand all these four dimensions in Jyotish, you will understand your value creation capacity. The nature of the Rashi in your house, the nature of the planets in your second house, the nature of the ruler of your second house, and the nature of the planet aspecting that second house. Understand all of these four things, strategize, and you will have success. Let's take an example. Cancer, we thought that there will be Saturn in Cancer, second house. Let's assume that Moon has gone into your ninth house. Ruler of your second house is in the ninth house. And let's also assume that Jupiter from eighth house is aspecting your second house. Cancer, Saturn, Moon in the ninth house, Jupiter aspecting the second house. Now let's unpack this. Your house, if that is the way you plan to grow your wealth by buying properties, houses, right? What I said initially, you have to look after nourishing aspects of that house. You have to nourish it. You have to take care of it like a parent. And Saturn is there. What does it mean? You have to stay invested in that house with a long-term strategic mindset. Moon has gone in the ninth house. What does it mean? Ninth house is all about our values. Ninth house is all about our ethics. So, regarding the dealings of all aspects of your property, which you are going to use to increase your wealth, if you are ethical, you don't do anything shady about that property, including not harming your neighbors, not inconveniencing your neighbors. Brilliant. The wealth will grow from that property. The final thing, Jupiter aspecting. What is Jupiter? Jupiter is all about wisdom. Jupiter is all about expansion. Combine that. If you own a property, look for expansion in that property. Be extremely wise about the wealth that you are generating from that property. Don't spend it on things which are not adding any value to you. Any returns that you are getting from this property, it could be a house, it could be a dividends that you get from your stocks. If you use your Jupiter, which is all about wisdom, wisely use that money, I guarantee you, your wealth will always, always grow. I hope I was able to explain the value creation capacity through Jyotish today. In the subsequent videos, we'll cover other areas. If you want to see the potential of your wealth in your chart, please send me a message on my WhatsApp number in the description and my email. I would be happy to look at it. Thank you very much.